We're now recording. Alright, so this is integers and order of operations. And so what we're talking about is what integers are and how to add, subtract, divide, multiply, and how to do this various things. So our topic, our chapter, if you like, is exploring number. For the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing exploring number, looking at number and various things like that. And so an integer is just a whole number that is positive or negative or zero. So for example, everything that's negative all the way up to -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., wherever. So that's just what an integer is. It's just a whole number, not positive, negative. It's the sort of official term, if you like. Alright, and it's an important thing. We've seen this many times before. We've seen this before in operations with integers, so we just need to be familiar with it. So when you add a negative number, you subtract the opposite of that number. So what that means is if you're adding a negative, you change the addition to subtraction and the negative number to a positive number. So in this case, if you look here, we have 5 plus minus 3. Right? So we change the plus to a minus and change the minus 3 to a positive 3. And we all know what 5 minus 3 is. What's 5 minus 3? 2. So the answer to this one is 2. Alright, so when you got 5 plus minus 3, it's 5 minus 3, which equals 2. Okay. On the other side, when you're subtracting a negative number, so it's a minus minus, you change the negative sign to a plus, and you add the positive of it. So you change the negative number to a positive number, you change the minus sign to a plus sign. So what you end up with is 4 minus 3 is equal to 4 plus 3, which of course is 7. Now give me a second, I'm just going to restart this, and then we're going to go back and start it again. Good. Thank you, good. Okay, so 2, and I got 7. Alright, so you understand those two things? So it's important, it's often people can get sort of mixed up with it. When you're adding a negative, you take away that positive value. You take away that. When you're subtracting a negative, you add the positive of that. Okay? And these are just a couple of examples. The next thing is, quickly, when multiplying or dividing integers. Alright, you gotta sort of think of this separately from addition and subtraction. You have multiplication and division. Okay? So the general thing is if the two sides of the integers that you're multiplying or dividing are the same, then it's going to be a positive result. So if they're both positive, both negative, and you multiply them together, their product is going to be positive. Whereas if the signs are different, if one is negative and one is positive, then your answer is going to be negative. That's irrespective of what the actual value is of the two numbers. Whether they're integers or decimals or whatever. If one's negative and one's positive, you multiply them or divide them, the answer is going to be negative. If they're both positive, it's going to be positive. If they're both negative, it's going to be positive. Okay, so you need to remember these. These are key points here that I would like you to remember. Yeah, and I think most people, like we've seen this, like I said, many times, they just need to go over it and make sure it's familiar. Okay? Any questions up to now? What was it there? We got up to here, is that right? This question is quite wide. What? Well, usually the boards on that. This one? Alright, so moving along. Now remember, if you don't get everything down, it's all available, so you can go over it and get it. So I'd rather you listen, but you do need to try to write some of them down. And the other thing is, when we talk about order of operations, when we have an order of operations, this has been going on since forever. Who remembers odd maths or big maths, stuff like that? Okay, so that's the basic idea. There's a set order of operations we have to follow when doing any calculations. Okay, anything in brackets or any sort of moving symbols comes first. Whatever's inside the brackets you have to do first. What happens after that is any powers or indices. Okay, then something squared or something cubed, something to the power of 5, whatever it might be. After that comes multiplication and division. That's from left to right. And then after that comes addition and subtraction. Okay, so that's the order. Brackets, whatever's inside the bracket comes first. Powers / indices. Multiplication and division in any order, but generally from left to right. And then addition and subtraction. Okay, that's the order of operations. You might remember it under big math. Do you remember big math or odd math? However you want to remember it, it's fine. There's been some method of remembering. And you don't need to write this, but this is just a note to say that remember if you have a number line, when you subtract something, you're moving left down the number line, more negative. That's what's happening when you subtract. When you're adding, you're moving right along the number. So if ever you get into trouble, as in when you have two negatives, negative minus something, or you're getting a bit sort of confused about when I add this or subtract this, what's the result? So put it on a number line and think, okay, well, I'm minusing this, so I start at this point, and I have to move left. Or I start at this point, and I have to move right. Okay. Whatever it might be, just make sure that you know how to use this if you need. Okay, number lines can be very handy. So I'm going to do a few examples. Okay, just do a couple of examples, just looking up at the front here. Alright, Chris, what comes first in this order? What do we have to do first with this operation? Yeah, okay, so we can do that. Oh, it's also, you can do both brackets at the same time, but let's do it one at a time. So we've got 5 plus 8 minus 3 squared. So we'll do what's 3 times minus 5? So we've got positive times a negative. 3 times minus 5, minus 15. Good. Minus 15, we'll leave that there. The next thing is this other bracket. So what's 5 plus 8, Chelsea? 13, good. So that's 13. And let's do it in one go. What's 3 squared? 3 times 3. No. 9. Good. 3 minus 9. And then we have plus minus 15. Okay, now we've done the order of operations, we've worked out all the little bits, and now we have to add and subtract it together. So 13 minus 9. What's 13 minus 9? 4. Good. So then we've got 4 plus minus 15. What's 4 plus minus 15? Remember that when you add a negative, what do you have to do? When you add a negative, you subtract the opposite. So this actually equals 4 minus 15. And what's 4 minus 15? 8. Good, minus 11. So that's what we end up with. Alright, so obviously every question, I don't expect you to do working like this. But if it helps you to follow it through step by step, that's the thing that will be best for you to do. Okay? So I'd like you to do exercise 1.01. Question 1 to 4, do 3 parts from each. So what I mean by that, pick 3 parts out of A to whatever. So you could do A, D, and F or something, whatever you like. So from verse 4, do 3 parts from each. Question 5 and 6, do the third column of questions. There's 3 columns, do the third column. And then 7 to 11, I would like you to do. Alright, so if you could quietly do that, that will